If you've been in therapy because something was bothering you, you probably wanted your therapist to help you fight it. Whether your therapist joined in that battle depended on what school or style of psychotherapy they practice. Symptom-focused treatments like CBT and DBT are technique-heavy. They train you to fight the thought, challenge the belief, manage your stress. They offer tips, tools, and strategies like a boxing coach. Psychodynamic therapy, the kind I practice and teach, does something very different. It doesn't fight, not with you and not on your behalf either. It listens instead of fighting. And while this may sound passive or weak or old-fashioned, it's really none of that. It's actually active and strong and modern. It follows the wisdom of a uniquely non-violent martial art called Aikido. What a psychodynamic or depth therapist is doing, instead of fighting your problems alongside you, is essentially mental Aikido. That's what I'll talk about today. I'm Dr. Stephen Reedboard, longtime psychiatrist and psychiatric educator, and a longtime student of Aikido, a martial art based in listening instead of fighting. I'm in the process of advancing to third-degree black belt at the time I'm making this video. Aikido has some useful lessons regarding therapy and mental health that I'll get into today here on More Than Meds. Aikido is a modern Japanese martial art about 100 years old, but based on older practices such as jiu-jitsu and samurai sword fighting. Its philosophy is very different though. You don't fight your opponent. You don't block their force or attempt to overpower them. You receive their energy, you connect or blend with it, and then redirect it to a peaceful resolution. The founder of Aikido called it the art of peace. It doesn't aim to defeat anyone. It's no coincidence that this description also is a great description of what a skilled psychodynamic therapist is doing. When a patient uses defense mechanisms in the session, when they change the subject, when they externalize blame onto other people, when they minimize their feelings, when they resist participating in self-exploration because it's too uncomfortable, too threatening, a technique-focused therapist might challenge the defense, try to overcome it, to fight it, try to break through the roadblock. Instead, to a psychodynamic therapist, resistance is not the enemy. We don't try to overpower it. We ask, what is the resistance trying to say? We listen to it, we connect with it, we try to understand it. We don't aim to tear it down. We realize that everyone who comes to therapy has conscious reasons to be there, but also unconscious reasons to maintain the status quo, to not change. And we know that pressure leads to counter-pressure. Have you noticed in politics that when the Republicans propose something, push for something, the Democrats push in the other direction to stop it? And when the Democrats push for something, the Republicans push in the other direction and stop it? Mostly there's a lot of pushing and not very much to show for it. We try to avoid that in psychodynamic psychotherapy. We assume there are good reasons the person is stuck. If we tried to force change, to fight the stuckness, the patient would push back. They'd defend their right to remain stuck, not because they want to frustrate us, but because they're reacting to a genuine internal conflict. They're being pulled in opposite directions, and if we as the therapist put our thumb on the scale on one side of the argument, the other side of the argument will rise to the occasion to maintain the stalemate. Aikido and depth psychotherapy realize that it takes joining with another person and a willingness to accept a creative direction that's not fully chosen by either person alone. Rather than trying to steer the process in a particular direction, both Aikido and depth psychotherapy are non-directive. They don't set an agenda or plan a particular outcome. This joining or connection in Aikido is called the blend, blending with the attacker's energy. And in psychotherapy, we call it attunement. Attunement is a core feature of depth psychotherapy, and I talk about it in this video right here. It's basically being on the same wavelength as the patient, joining them where they're at. Both people contribute to the process. It's collaborative. So in this approach, the therapist isn't fighting your problems or teaching you how to fight them like a boxing coach might. So what are we doing? Please subscribe if you have not already, and keep watching because here's where it gets interesting. As in Aikido, change in depth psychotherapy is experiential. It's part of an experience, not something that you learn in your head, not from a plan to change you. In the Aikido dojo, students improve in relationship with a real partner, not by knowing a move in their heads, but by practicing it in real life with another human being. So it sinks into the bones. It becomes implicit body knowledge. Likewise, in depth psychotherapy, change and insight happens in the therapeutic relationship. Not from advice you hear in this session, not from knowing it in your head, not some cognitive tip or strategy that you can pull out later when you need it. The therapist's non-judgmental acceptance of your anger and your shame and your defenses, the therapist's calm physical presence, their own being centered and grounded, that's partly the new experience that leads to change. Another part are the inevitable small failures on the part of the therapist, who even at best will occasionally slip in our attunement or our empathy. Unlike an AI chatbot, a human therapist is not a perfectly agreeable mirror. We're fallible, imperfect humans, and that's a feature, not a bug. The idea is that in genuine human relationships, the connection ruptures repeatedly in small ways, but is then repaired, and it becomes stronger as a result. In therapy, this happens in a safe setting with a safe person. These tiny disappointments in the context of an overall healthy relationship help build emotional strength and resilience. Just as Aikido becomes implicit body knowledge, experiences in psychotherapy become implicit emotional knowledge. It sinks into your bones. We often say that you originally developed your emotional patterns based on your early relationships with your parents or your siblings. In the same way, you learn new, healthier patterns in a new relationship, the therapy relationship. That's why therapy can't be a lecture. You could read every self-help book ever written, and it wouldn't be the same thing. Conversely, depth psychotherapy isn't advocacy either, fighting on your behalf. I've done videos on this before, on the misguided way some therapists join in political fights along with their patients or clients as comrades in arms. There are several problems with this. I discuss it in detail in this video right there. But from an Aikido perspective, fighting, even fighting on behalf of an innocent person like the client, is still fighting. It's using force to try to change the situation. It assumes the therapist knows in advance what strategy is best. A patient who's been abused by their family might hear their therapist advise them to go no contact. A gender dysphoric patient, a person uncertain and troubled by their gender identity, might hear their gender-affirming therapist advise them to transition. A patient in an unhappy marriage may hear their therapist advise them to get a divorce. But as mentioned earlier, force brings on counterforce. No topic that's emotionally troubling, and after all, that's why the person is in therapy, it's emotionally troubling them. No such topic is entirely one-sided. Instead of diving in and advocating, it's better to listen to the complexity, to arrive at a co-constructed outcome, something both of you came up with. It could be a creative resolution that neither one of you could have arrived at by yourself. You may have thought in therapy, why doesn't my therapist just tell me what to do? And some kinds of therapies try. Technique-heavy therapies like CBT feel like progress. You get homework to do, tools to try, techniques to follow. Psychodynamic therapy and depth psychotherapy more generally asks you instead to slow down, so both of you can listen to what's going on. Aikido teaches stillness before action, to settle yourself and connect with the current situation before or sometimes instead of jumping in to change it. From this viewpoint, you want a therapist who is curious about your resistance and not annoyed by it or trying to make an end run around it, who can hold steady when you're angry or sad or defensive, and like the Aikidoist, the Aikido practitioner doesn't try to retaliate or withdraw from it, who isn't there simply to agree with you or to give you advice that you could have come up with yourself or that your friends could have told you. Instead, you'd want a therapist who will listen and who would help you listen to the feelings going on inside you. One who realizes that fighting is not the way to create change. One practical question you might ask a prospective therapist is to ask them, how do you handle it when a patient isn't making progress? Do they double down, exert more pressure, push it harder, or do they stop and listen even more carefully? Their answer will tell you a lot. If any of this resonated, or if you disagree, let me know in the comments. I read every single one of them, and if you ask me a thoughtful question, I'll give you a thoughtful answer. Please like this video, but only if you really like it, and please subscribe if you have not already. This video is part of a playlist I'm doing on Aikido and psychotherapy, and this is a link to the playlist. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.